Do you ever find yourself looking at a plate of delicious leftovers, thinking about how easy it would be to just warm them up later? Of course you do. We all do. It's a wonderful way to save time and money, and nobody likes wasting good food. But what if I told you that some of those seemingly harmless reheated meals could actually be doing more harm than good? It's a quiet worry, isn't it? That uneasy feeling after eating something that just didn't sit right. Or perhaps even worse, not realizing at all that the food we're consuming could be putting our health at risk, especially as we get a little older and our bodies become more sensitive. The secret is, not all leftovers are created equal when it comes to reheating. Some foods become unsafe, even dangerous, if not handled just right, while others absolutely need to be reheated properly to avoid issues. And knowing the difference is crucial for your well-being, for staying healthy and vibrant into your golden years. It's about protecting yourself and your loved ones with simple, yet powerful knowledge. In this video, we're going to dive into exactly that. We'll uncover 3 common foods you should think twice about reheating, and equally important, 3 foods you simply must reheat thoroughly for your safety and enjoyment. Stick with me until the very end, because I've got a piece of advice that might just surprise you and change the way you think about your next meal. Let's start by talking about those tricky foods, the ones that often seem perfectly fine to reheat, but really, you should approach with caution, or ideally, not at all. The first one might surprise many of you, because it's a staple in so many homes: rice. Now, I know what you're thinking. Leftover rice is a classic. Isn't it a quick fried rice or a side dish for tomorrow's meal? But here's the quiet truth about rice. It can harbor spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. These spores can survive the cooking process, even when you cook the rice thoroughly. The real problem starts once the rice is cooked and then left to cool down slowly at room temperature. That's when those harmless spores can wake up, multiply. And here's the kicker. They can produce toxins. These toxins are what cause food poisoning, leading to unpleasant symptoms like vomiting or diarrhea. And the tricky part is, reheating the rice, even to a high temperature, won't destroy these toxins once they've formed. So, what's the actionable advice here? It's all about timing and temperature. The best approach is to serve rice immediately after it's cooked. If you absolutely must save some for later, the key is to cool it down as quickly as possible. We're talking within 1 hour of cooking. You can spread it out on a shallow tray or plate to help it cool faster. Then pop it straight into the fridge. Once it's chilled, you should only reheat it once. And when you do, make sure it's steaming hot all the way through. And, crucially, eat it immediately after reheating, if it's been sitting out for more than an hour after cooking, or if it's been in the fridge for more than a day. It's honestly safer to let it go. Think of rice like a ticking clock once it's out of the pot. The faster you cool it, the safer it is. It might seem a bit fussy for something so common, but your peace of mind and your gut health are worth it. Moving on to our second food to be wary of: reheating cooked chicken or other poultry. Just like rice, chicken is a beloved leftover, whether it's the remnants of a Sunday roast or some grilled chicken from last night. The concern with chicken and other poultry, like turkey or duck, lies in its high protein content and the potential for bacteria like Salmonella or Campylobacter. When chicken is cooked, these bacteria are killed. However, if the chicken isn't cooled properly after cooking, or if it's not reheated to a sufficiently high temperature, new bacteria can start to grow. What's more, the protein structure in chicken can change when it's reheated, sometimes making it harder for your body to digest, which can lead to an upset stomach. This is especially true if it dries out during reheating. So, how do we handle our feathered friends safely if you're reheating cooked chicken? Always make sure it reaches a piping hot temperature all the way through. We're talking 74 degrees Celsius or 165 degrees Fahrenheit, inside and out. It's helpful to cut larger pieces into smaller chunks to ensure even heating. Just like with rice, it's best to reheat chicken only once. If you've stored it in the fridge, it's generally safe for 1 to 2 days. If it's been longer than that, or if you have any doubts about its smell or texture, it's best to err on the side of caution and dispose of it. Never reheat chicken in a slow cooker, as this doesn't get it hot enough quickly enough. Think of chicken as a delicate balance. It needs that full, thorough warmth to be truly safe. And for our third tricky food, mushrooms. These versatile fungi are wonderful in so many dishes, from a creamy sauce to a simple sauté. However, mushrooms contain enzymes and proteins that can break down quickly once they're cooked, especially if they're not stored correctly or reheated properly. If they're left at room temperature for too long after cooking, these proteins can degrade and produce compounds that might lead to an upset stomach or other digestive discomfort when reheated. They're a bit like little sponges for bacteria if they're not handled just right. The safest way to enjoy mushrooms is to eat them immediately after cooking. If you find yourself with leftover cooked mushrooms and want to save them, the same rapid cooling rule applies. Cool them quickly and refrigerate them as soon as possible. When it comes to reheating, it's generally advised to reheat them to a very high temperature and to only do so once. But honestly, if you can avoid it, it's often better to enjoy them cold in a salad if they were cooked the day before, or to simply make a fresh batch. If you're reheating a dish that contains mushrooms, ensure the whole dish gets piping hot. The general rule of thumb is, if they look slimy, have a strange odor, or feel different, it's time to say goodbye. Now, you might be thinking, oh dear, so much to remember. But don't worry, it's really about understanding the nature of these foods. And just as there are foods we should be wary of reheating, there are others that absolutely benefit from a proper warm-up. Let's shift our focus to those. So, what about the foods that actually need that thorough reheat to be safe and delicious? These are the dishes where a good, strong warm-up isn't just about taste, but about crucial food safety. Our first category here is meat dishes. Think of hearty beef stews, comforting shepherd's pies, a delicious spaghetti bolognese, or that leftover slice of a pot roast. These are often the stars of our meal prep, providing easy dinners for a few days. The reason these dishes absolutely must be reheated properly lies in the potential for bacterial growth. Meat, by its nature, can contain various bacteria, and while cooking thoroughly destroys them initially, if the dish isn't cooled down quickly enough after cooking, or if it sits at room temperature for too long, any surviving or newly introduced bacteria can multiply rapidly. Reheating to a very high temperature ensures that these potential hazards are eliminated, making your meal safe to enjoy again. The actionable advice for meat dishes is straightforward: always reheat until they are piping hot, steaming, and bubbling all the way through. It's not enough for the outside to feel warm. The heat needs to penetrate every part of the dish. For stews and casseroles, stirring frequently while reheating, especially on the stovetop or in the microwave, helps distribute the heat evenly and prevents cold spots where bacteria could linger. If you're using a microwave, make sure you pause and stir often. Then, continue heating. A good rule of thumb is to aim for that 74 degrees Celsius or 165 degrees Fahrenheit mark throughout the dish. And remember, just like the foods we discussed before, these meat dishes should ideally only be reheated once. If you've got a large quantity, consider portioning it out before refrigerating, so you only take out and reheat what you plan to eat. This ensures each portion gets its one thorough reheat, safeguarding your health. Think of these dishes as needing a second cooking to be truly safe and enjoyable after their initial preparation. It's a simple step that makes a world of difference for your peace of mind and well-being. Next up, let's talk about leftover sauces and soups that contain dairy or cream. These are the creamy pasta sauces, the rich cream of mushroom soups, the cheesy macaroni and cheese dishes that are just too good to waste. While incredibly comforting and delicious, dairy products like milk, cream, and cheese provide a rich environment for bacteria to grow if they're left at improper temperatures. Once cooked and then cooled, these dishes can quickly become a breeding ground for various microorganisms if not handled with care. The fat and protein content in dairy makes them particularly susceptible. To ensure safety when reheating these delicious concoctions, it's crucial to bring them to a full, rolling boil or ensure they are bubbling vigorously for at least a minute. This high heat effectively kills off any bacteria that may have started to multiply during storage. When reheating creamy sauces or soups on the stovetop, stir continuously to prevent them from scorching on the bottom and to ensure the heat is distributed evenly throughout. Microwaving requires similar vigilance. Stir every minute or so to break up cold spots and ensure consistent heating. Because of their delicate nature, These creamy dishes are especially vulnerable. So prompt refrigeration after initial cooking and thorough reheating are key. Never let them sit out on the counter for longer than 2 hours. Think of creamy dishes as a warm, cozy bed for little microbes if they're not hot enough. We need to make sure that bed is uninhabitable by getting it really, really hot. Your taste buds will thank you, and more importantly, your digestive system will too. And finally, for our third category of foods that absolutely must be reheated, thoroughly cooked legumes and beans. This includes dishes like a hearty chili, a comforting lentil soup, or even classic baked beans that you've made a big batch of. While perhaps not as infamous as meat for concerns like salmonella, cooked beans and legumes, especially if they're prepared in bulk or combined with other ingredients like vegetables and sauces, can harbor bacteria if not cooled and reheated correctly. For instance, Clostridium perfringens is a common culprit that can thrive in large quantities of food that are cooled slowly. Legumes are high in both protein and complex carbohydrates, which means they provide a fantastic medium for bacterial growth if given the opportunity. So, the rule for reheating these wholesome dishes is much like our meat dishes. They need to be reheated until steaming hot all the way through. Don't just warm them up. Ensure they are bubbling vigorously. If you're reheating a large pot of chili or soup, make sure you stir it thoroughly and frequently to distribute the heat, just like with other foods. If you notice any unusual odors, a strange texture, or discoloration, it's always best to err on the side of caution and discard the food. Your senses are your first line of defense. Beans and legumes are fantastic fuel for your body, packed with fiber and nutrients, but they can also be great fuel for unwanted bacteria if they're not handled correctly. Taking this small extra step to ensure thorough reheating means you can enjoy these nourishing meals safely and confidently. So, you see, it's not just about avoiding reheating certain foods, but also embracing the necessity of thoroughly heating others. Surge. It's all about ensuring your kitchen remains a safe haven for delicious, healthy meals. But we're not done yet, because there's one more crucial element to this whole picture that brings it all together. We've covered some really important ground today, haven't we? From those often eaten foods like rice, chicken, and mushrooms that ask us to be extra careful with how we reheat them, to the comforting stews, creamy sauces, and bean dishes that truly need to be brought back to a piping hot temperature to keep us safe. It's a lot to take in. But remember, these aren't just rules. They're safeguards for your health, simple ways to protect yourself and your family. Taking care of ourselves as we get a little older is so much about these small, thoughtful adjustments. It's not about fear, but about empowerment, knowing how to make the best choices for your body and your peace of mind. Every little bit of knowledge you gain, every mindful step you take in the kitchen, contributes significantly to your overall well-being. Think of it as a gift you give yourself every single day, the gift of health, vitality, and safety. This isn't about being overly cautious or making cooking complicated. It's about being smart with your leftovers, understanding that food safety is a continuous process from the moment you bring groceries home until the last bite. It's about building good habits that become second nature, like cooling food quickly, storing it correctly, and then knowing exactly how to handle it when it comes time for round 2. And this brings me to that surprising piece of advice I promised you at the beginning. It's not about a specific food, but a general principle that ties everything together. The single most crucial, often overlooked, step in food safety when it comes to leftovers isn't just about reheating, but about how you cool your food down in the first place. Many of us leave hot food on the counter to cool slowly before putting it in the fridge. This is where the real danger zone lies, that temperature range between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius, or 40 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. The surprise: always cool your food as rapidly as possible before refrigerating. Break down large portions, like that big pot of stew, into smaller, shallow containers. This increases the surface area and allows the food to cool down quickly, ideally within 1 hour of cooking. Before you put it into the fridge, don't let it sit out for hours. This step prevents those bacteria from multiplying to dangerous levels in the first place, making the reheating process much safer. And remember, most foods should only be reheated once, If you're unsure about how long something has been in the fridge, or if it smells or looks off in any way, the safest bet is always to follow the golden rule when in doubt. Throw it out. It's a small price to sans or to pay for avoiding a nasty stomach bug. Think about all the wonderful memories shared around the dinner table, the comfort of a home-cooked meal. We want those memories to be happy ones, free from any worries about what we're eating. By being mindful about how we store and reheat our food, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're extending the enjoyment of every single meal, ensuring it nurtures us rather than causes any discomfort. I am so curious to hear from you. What are your go-to tips for managing leftovers? Have you ever had a bad experience with reheating food? Or perhaps a surprising success story? Share your thoughts and advice in the comments below. Your wisdom helps everyone in our community, and I read every single one. If you found this video helpful, if it sparked a new thought or gave you some peace of mind, please do give it a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow and reach more wonderful people like you who are looking for practical, easy to understand health advice. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on more practical advice, tips, and insights designed to help you live your fullest, healthiest life. Remember, every day is an opportunity to make choices that nourish your body and your spirit. You have the power to protect your well-being, to enjoy every meal, and to truly thrive at any age. Keep learning, keep living, and keep shining. Until next time, take great care of yourselves and live your best life at every age.